Personal expense tracker. Hi, this is Masud Rana. Today I will talk to you through Personal Expense Tracker, an Android app that simplifies expense tracking with security, geolocation, and real-time analysis. Let's start our project. I will discuss about everything. Introduction: Firebase authentication, secure registration, and logging with email and password. Personal expense tracker. First layer of security is Firebase. Authentication: when user register their password and store plain text. Let me show you this action. Quickly switch to emulator to demonstrate registration. If the email is already registered, Personal Expense guide user to log in smoothly, no error. Expense recording: capture title, amount, date, time, and location using Google Place API. Next, user log expense with titles, amount, and location. Google Place API simplifies location. Tagging type like is London, and Personal Expense Tracker suggests London. Show the add expense skin in the emulator. Skipped a field. Personal Expense Tracker default to unload build still slaps the data flexibility first. Use case diagram. Actor use case: register logging and expense. View history, generate analysis. The diagram captures personal expense interaction. The user our sole actor, register logging and expense and view analysis. Each use case mirror real world budget tasks. For example, when adding an expense, the user provide a little amount, date, and location. Personal expense tracker validates this date and saves it securely. If validation entering a negative amount, the app guides the user to correct into the crash. Just feedback. Gesture toward the add expense use case, verbal explanation. This flow ensure personal expense tracker behave like a helpful assistant, not a rigid tool. Every interaction is designed to feel natural. Whatever you are tracking a copy of vacation expense or glossary item, etc. Class diagram UML. This is expense model class. Now I discuss this class diagram. Now let's explore personal expense tracker architecture. The class diagram show how component interact. Its heart at the expense class structure temple for storing data like amount, date, and location. Think of it as a digital legendary entry. Highlights the expense class is the diagram. Like as, for example, when you log a 50 pound glossary expense, the expense class packages this into an object with strict rules. Amount cannot be negative, add title cannot be empty. This ensures data integrity from the start. Point to the database class, verbal explanation. The database class acts as personal expense tracker librarian. It stores and relatives expense object using SQLite with separate tables for each user. This keeps data organized and secure. Class diagram UML. Database helper class. Manage SQL operation and expense adapter. Binds data recycle view. Diving deeper into the database class, it handles all store logic when a user saves an expense. Personal expense tracker create a table like expense user 123 with this schema. SQL create table expense user 123 ID integer primary key auth title text not now. Amount real check amount greater than or equal to 0. Inputs non negative below date text location text default unknown. Notice the check constant, it blocks invalid amount like 20 found. The default keyword ensure location is not left blank. Personal expense tracker fills it unknown automatically. Design pattern. Singleton pattern ensures single file based authentication instead. Observer pattern. Recycle view update or data change. Personal expense tracker use the singleton pattern for file-based authentication. Only the in-instance exit preventing conflict during logging or registration. Thanks to the observer pattern, the recycler view update like when data change and a copy expense and it pops up immediately. This is another design pattern, repository pattern, database class, centralized data operation. Public boolean add expense, string title, amount double, string date, string location. The repository pattern centralized database operation. This is centralized database operation. If we migrate to Firestore later, only this class needs update minimal disclosure action. This method handles validation and intersection, keeping the code clean. Sequence diagram. Sequence diagram adding an expense, user interface, input data in add expense activity, bill detection, check for empty field. If title is empty, amount row is empty, toast make text. This fill all the fields. This sequence diagram show personal expense tracker show flow. The user input data, bill detection, check you also the database update all in millisecond. Database intersection. This is another sequence data diagram. Database intersection. User interface design component. Logging register scheme XML code for import. Personal expense tracker logging and register scheme use material design text input layout for publish error resistance input field. This is our design pattern. First of all, we register our email or and password. If we have a registration, this software, just we log in this software. User interface design component. Dark or light model toggle. This code snapshot and using Java. This is our dashboard. Dashboard have a logout button, dashboard and add expense, view statistics. With the toggle personal expense tracker, adapt to our device theme. Behind the screen, an Android negative theming system does not the heavy lifting. User interface design component. This is this software have an analytical chart, pie chart and bar chart. MP Android chart power personal expense tracker visual. This pie chart breaks down spending by category, while the bar chart tracks daily trends inside the second. Show chart rendering in the emulator. Then we can understand what is our personal expense tracker, pie chart and bar chart, our daily expense. Tax plan and result. Unit test. Database test intersection. Input validation. We tested personal expense tracker regularity. Unit test like this one ensure expense saved correctly, even under this case. UI test. Express to test for the cycler view update. We tested personal expense tracker regularity. Unit test like this one ensure expense saved correctly, even under this case. Critical evaluation state. Modularity. Performance. Clear separation of concern, MVC pattern. Performance SQLite queries run in background threads. Personal expense tracker state modular design, real-time update, and the MVC pattern separate concern, making debugging and these critical evaluation weakness, security and scalability. Security. We know security is the most important for every software and every website. That's why security is main factor and also very important for the software. Security. Password are secure in firewall, but local SQL data leak encryption. Scalability. No plagiarism for large database in recycle view. Personal expense tracker limitation. No cloud since data is stay device bound in large database like plagiarism, and they are flexible. Critical evaluation improvement. Implement Firebase Firestore for cloud scenes. Add data encryption using Android. Add Firestore for cloud scenes and encryption local data and support multi-user budget. Personal expense journey has just begun. This is our reference. We collected from this information Google, PhilJai, Android developer, etc. Conclusion. Achievement. We achievement important. We have a very important things achievement from our personal expense tracker. Deliver a functional app with secure authentication by Firebase. Geolocation tagging, Google Play API, real-time analysis. Demonstrated mastery of Android SDK and design pattern. In closing, personal expense tracker simplifies influence with secure tracking, instant analysis, and clean UI user interface. With features update and it will become even more powerful. Thank you everybody.